Ladies and gentlemen, here we go. Yes, I am Troy Miles, and I am here with Ed Davis for another episode of the Point Walk the Walk Hoop Talk. What's going on, Eddie?
What's going on, bro? It's all good.
Oh, it is all good, man. You know, it's not only good, it's been fantastic. Like we said so many times before, we get treated to March Madness, and we think that that's special, and it absolutely is, because they absolutely are doing their thing, girls and boys. Let's not get it confused. But
that's right.
NBA action, that we've heard this before, is fantastic. I mean, the playoffs have been unbelievable, and I even got to give your boys some credit. Oh, I know they went fishing, but the Lakers went out on their crown with their kings, and I was impressed with you guys. I really thought that I didn't expect you guys to beat OKC. It went as I expected, but the way you guys played, especially the last game, man, that's incredible basketball. And you, as a Lakers fan, should be encouraged. And I know you're playing the waiting game, hoping that Rob Pelinka can do you guys a solid. Talk about it, knowledge.
Oh well, you mentioned Rob Pelinka, man. I don't necessarily have a lot of faith in Rob Pelinka and the decisions he makes. I'm being honest. Rob Pelinka was the one that broke up the championship team, so I would always remember that. But however, with that being said, Lakers they played their tails off, man. They balled.
They really did.
Yeah, they balled. It was a great game. Like I said, it was exciting.
Yeah.
I was playing earlier, and I mentioned Lakers in 5, but the reality was I would have been happy and surprised that they got 1.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I thought there were 2 games. There were 2 games in the series where I thought they had a chance. They really had a chance to win those games. That was, I think, game 1.
Was it
or
2?
Was it 2? It was 1 or 2, and then the last game they had a chance to win.
Correct.
Like most of the people saying out here, man, I would have loved to see if they were full capacity with Luka there. I would have seen that, because Luka, one thing you're gonna get out of Luka, you're gonna hurt yourself, I think, defensively, but at the same time, he's gonna continuously score. Luka's gonna score all night if he's playing the right way. So it'd have been nice to see the whole thing, but you know, things happened the way they were supposed to. Oklahoma did their thing. They did what they were supposed to, but I was encouraged by what I saw, like you said, man.
I was too. And, you know, to give Rob some grace, you guys have a hell of a decision to make, because, you know, I look at LeBron James, and, you know, he's very polarizing. But for me, he's a welcome addition at all times, based on what he brings to the table. But you have to, as a Lakers fan, you have to, unless you have poor memory, you have to think about what the dynamic was between Luka and AR before LeBron joined the fray early in the season. As good as LeBron is, you have to acknowledge that what Luka and AR were doing together was special. And
I agree.
Do you start there? Do you look to find value for AR? Do you make changes? Do you just strictly build through Luka? Do you do everything in your power to bring LeBron James back, and hopefully he can make some contract adjustments, a la Tom Brady, a la Michael Jordan? You guys aren't that far away. I think you should, instead of being sellers, I think you guys should be straight buyers. And I think this year, Rob Pelinka can make up for this disastrous decision to destroy that chemistry of the bubble championship team. This is a make or break decision for the Lakers.
Yeah.
This is going to change your fortunes for the next 5 years. You guys are right there. I thought, when I said that middle of the season, I said, hey, look, man, you guys, as much as I'm not necessarily a Lakers fan, I thought that you guys legitimately had a chance to be in this position, and you found yourself here.
I agree. I just, I don't know. They're at a critical stage, man, because like you said, you have a number of free agents, including Rui. You got Rui.
Rui
You
stays.
got it.
Rui
I,
has to stay.
there's no way I'm letting him get. But uh, what you think Rui's gonna get offered from other teams right now?
Well,
The way he's played consistently,
it
right?
doesn't
Okay, so
matter.
now you also have you have AR who he may be looking for max money. I don't know if I want to pay AR max money. I'm not.
You thought you were gonna pay. See, that's the point. So you thought that you were gonna pay, and you were willing to pay AR max money based on what you were seeing earlier in the season with him and Luca doing their thing. You wouldn't have thought twice about it. You would have said, "Yeah, this is the best backcourt in the league," which we stated on air on our show. At least I know I felt that way many
Well,
episodes ago, that they
well,
possibly that dynamic duo was the best in the league. Now we
okay.
see that. Now we obviously know that probably Harden and Spider probably are the best duo in the league right now,
No,
combination wise.
I don't know.
The best
I
backcourt in
don't
the league.
know.
Who would you put there? I mean, you're gonna look
I guess
to
I
Shea.
guess you'd have to say that, but yeah, they shaky, man. They be shaky. Last night they were shaky. They ended up pulling out a win, but they were shaky, man, real shaky. But let's stay on this for a second.
Mm,
I I agree with you what you said about AR, and I do think that. Matter of fact, it don't even matter what we think because there's about 31 other teams in the league who possibly would max AR out.
yeah,
You know, they're going to max him out. So that's where the Lakers and Rob Pelinka are going to have a problem because they may have to offer this dude max money to keep him and keep that backcourt together. Now it's going to come down to if LeBron is going to do what he should have did his last contract and took less money, 25, 30, whatever, even 35,
mm.
to make sure you're able to go out and get some other free agents to give
I
himself a chance to make himself better.
I think he
You know,
will.
uh,
If this is the final analysis, excuse me, where that's what needs to happen for them to be
mm-hmm,
able to add as opposed to subtract. I think
mm-hmm.
LeBron's game for that. LeBron wants to win. They still have a chance to win. I really don't think your Lakers are that far away, but it's
I,
critical the
I
decision
agree
that
with
you
you.
make moving forward.
I agree with
And
you, but like I said, but that's I thought that the last contract. You see what I'm saying? I thought of the
mm,
last contract, but
mm,
and you don't want to count a man's pockets, but we're talking about legacy, man, and you want to give
mm,
yourself the best opportunity. I'm with you. They are not that far away.
mhm,
You know what I'm saying? They were on, they were in a damn near every game. I watched them all the time.
right.
So, like I said, and then on the bigger picture, the way he ends his career, even if he goes back to Cleveland, I believe that disrupts Cleveland.
Yeah, that's not in their
Yeah,
best interest. I
exactly.
think.
It disrupts them.
Mhm,
And then it's for a short period of time. He only got 1, maybe 2 years left, but
right.
I don't want to. I don't want to see him retire this year. He's playing too well.
Yeah,
But I
the
can't
best
see him
scenario
continue to play. Best scenario what is for him to
is
stay where he's at, in my opinion,
stay where he's
and
at.
make that work.
I agree because,
Stay right where he's at.
yeah, because when you think about, uh, OKC, you're talking about a well-oiled machine, one of the
Yes.
greatest. When we're looking at, it's hard to make determinations in real time to give heartbeat props, but when you look at
Mm-hmm.
what they're doing as a team, this is a legacy, a legacy in action. This team is one
Mm-hmm.
of the best champions that we've seen, and
I
we're not
agree.
realizing because it's in real time, but when we go back and look at what they have and what they're
Mm-hmm.
doing and how they're doing it. And uh, I
That
always
remains to be seen, man. That statement you just made, that remains to be seen. Like I said, what if they get beat this year?
well,
I mean, they're playing well, and it looks like they're gonna have a nice run, but they might get clipped.
they
You never
could,
know, man.
but
They
but
may
look,
get clipped. That's
but but I'm talking about how at face value how they are winning. They're
mm-hmm.
winning by committee. They're winning defensively. Just
They
like,
look
for
great.
example,
They look
the
good.
final four teams, and we've said this before. Everyone knows that offense wins games, but defense wins championships.
Mm-hmm.
Well, uh, the final four teams now are the best at that. The way OKC plays defense, the way
Yes.
Minnesota plays D,
Yes.
the way um, the way these teams are bringing that defense, their hard hats to the table. That's
Yeah.
that's what's getting them over. And so the Lakers. they can just see that where they need to make those adjustments. They need to improve defensively. It hurt you guys
They do.
giving up Finney Smith. You need that type of character. You need you need someone who's going to you have to start with defense, and that's what San Antonio does. I love that about Mitch. His non-negotiable is defense, and they come at you in waves defensively, just like OKC does defensively. So, um, LA can put the ball in the basket. That's why they were in the position that they find themselves in currently with Rui, with AR, with LeBron, with and the contributions of Marcus Smart. You have championship pieces. Marcus Smart is a champion. The way he thinks, the way he operates. Yes, Ruri, he's got championship qualities all over him. You've got AR. You got AR is the one who hasn't proven that he's got championship pedigree, even though he's a skillful dude. Let's move on a little bit. Let's keep going. Let's stop real quick. And I got a couple things to say about San Antonio. First and foremost, I was proud of Mitch Johnson. We're going back a little bit. I was proud of Mitch for the way he handled the post game interview.
It's getting to a point that it's if the people that are in charge of controlling the game and protecting the physicality of the game don't do that, then at some point he's going to have to protect himself. We've been asking him to do that now for a while. Um, so that call, I'm glad Nas Reed was okay and sounded like the call was warranted. But in terms of the game plan of every single team we face since that young man's been in the league, and the physicality that people try to impose on him, and the lack of protection is really disappointing. And at some level, it's starting to get actually disgusting, just in terms of when he tries to fight through things and be professional and mature and deal with some of that stuff.
He didn't condone the act itself, but he applauded the motivation and the impetus to do it in the first place because, like he said, if the officials and the league is not going to protect Wimby, he has to do it himself. And what we're discovering about Wimby, and I've been talking about this for a while now, is that what separates him from some of the other characters that we've seen as youngsters, this young man has a lot of dog in him. Yes, he's slight right now, but he's got plenty of dog in him. And I don't, like I said, you don't condone what he did, but you understand what he did. And I think the league understood that their responsibility in that created that critical juncture. And I think that's why their response of no fine, no suspension was the decision, because they had to look at themselves and say, well, what do we expect this kid to do if we're allowing them to abuse him, because that's the only method you can think of for success against that kid? Yes. Well, he's not being abused as a competitor, as competition, which is abuse. Abuse. That's abuse. I know, but did Detroit whoop Jordan's ass or not? Okay, well, did the league have to make adjustments because Detroit was whooping his ass? I the same circumstance. You got a young up and coming superstar who's gonna dominate the league, and you've got the old heads begrudgingly not going to give up their status. So they're gonna do within whatever they can do within their means. And if the officials allow them to beat the hell out of Jordan and Pippen like they did when they were puppies, of course they're gonna do it. Of course Rick Mahorn's gonna beat your ass if you let him. Well, why of course Rick Mahorn's gonna beat your ass, that mentality of a person, if the league lets you do it. Yes. Yeah. What's the difference? Well, not at that level, but if not if you had I know, man, but putting Wimby look, how would you feel if one of these little acts of what you call non-harassment, they push Wimby and he fucking hurt him and he hurt himself, then how would you feel? His career ends like Ralph Sampson. Is that what we want? No, I don't think we should baby him. Oh man. Oh man. Yeah. Yeah. Context. Context. Context, bro. Yes. Well, there's context, man. You are responsible for the reputation you establish for yourself as an adult. So if you have a reputation for doing shady things, then like for example, if Draymond Green did that, they would have dealt with him differently because because he's earned that reputation. Has Wimby earned the reputation as a person that is a malicious player? No. So what? How did they deal with that circumstance? They ejected them for the game, essentially handing Minnesota a contest. So that's penalty enough. Yeah. Yeah. But okay, but we I keep saying context, but are we not? Have we established the fact that okay? Let's not get caught up in the 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 definition of harassment. But can we just say that by some definition that they were being overly aggressive with him? Look, we don't have to call it harassment. They're being overly aggressive with him because that's the strategy that they need to they feel like can be successful for them to throw him off, to get him out of his rhythm. All right. So with that being said, uh, that's a strategy that puts Wimby at physical risk. Whether he's slide or not, are you allowed to do things out? I just think that you have to look at the whole picture. If somebody is if I know you want for example, let's use your son as example. Now you want him to operate away from the house with the highest level of decorum possible. But if there's some school kid at school bullying him, you want him to go through the proper channels. He's being bullied. You want him to first. You want him to look at the bully in the eye and say, "Hey, man, please stop. I'm not with that." If that doesn't work, maybe you might tell him, "Hey, say something to the teacher." If that doesn't work, what are you going to ask your son to do? How? because the because yes, that's Wimby. That's Wimby, and that's what Mitch did. Ed, Ed, when Ed, they're gonna sit down and they're gonna talk about this kid here has been bullying this kid, and this kid here finally got fed up and hit this motherfucker and hit him in the mouth. Okay, so I'm me and my son, are going to get ice cream because he stood up for himself. If I need to deal with the principal like Mitch dealt with the media and the league, I'm willing to do that. But at a certain point, my son's gonna sock him in the mouth, and I'm gonna support that. Maybe not. Maybe not. They sent him home that day. Wimby got sent home. They sent the, yeah. Well, no, but not Nas is but Nas is the bully. Why? Okay, that's what's wrong with you. That's why your son's at school causing problems because you're telling him he's the bully. Because in your scenario, Nas Reed is the one that was messing with the other kid in the first place. So the bully got socked in the mouth. So you're telling Debo when Ice Cube finally socked Debo and whooped his ass, you're gonna go tell Debo you're Debo's dad. You're going to tell him now you got to go back and hunt Ice Cube down. After you've been bothering Ice Cube for 2 months, he finally had enough, knocked your ass out, and you're telling me that Debo has a leg to stand on to go back and retaliate against Ice Cube and them again. No, Debo's the problem in the first place. They've been playing. They've been okay. Well, that's the disconnect. All right. Well then, all right. Well, that's our disconnect. That I don't. Uh, oh yeah. I get Ed. And Ed, I agree with you. I agree that you have to do everything in your power. I, well, I know, but okay. Now, okay. Here's where we're on the same page. I'm not saying baby him. I wasn't telling the league to baby Jordan. What did Jordan and Pippen have to do to make at least half of it stop? Them Negroes when they got in the gym. Did you see? Did you see how Pippen and Jordan showed up in the third season after they got their ass beat? They when they hired they both hired Gergerich, and you saw what happened. Okay, well, yes, so Wimby did that last year, so I expect him to come back stronger. But that still does not have to me. That's the only place where we disconnect. The only place where we're disconnecting is whether or not Minnesota or any of these teams, and it started with San Antonio it started with Detroit during the regular season when they decided that we're gonna beat up San Antonio and see how Wimby responds. And that was the model. JB started that. JB decided that the only way we can deal with this freak is to whoop his ass while we can, while he's a skinny youngster. And I'm not mad at you, but the league needs to find the balance between allowing you to do what you have to do to win and preserving and not allowing him to be unnecessarily maimed because that's the only thing you can come up with. Non basketball. I exactly. Well, that's my point. And I think that the league uses the refs to control the games, and so because of that, I think the league was at fault for allowing it to go too far on Wemby, and then I think that that impacted their decision. That's what I think. Anyway, all right. Well, agree or not, let's find some symposium. Let's find something to agree about. I'm a little bit surprised, even though a couple months ago in the podcast I said that let's not count Cleveland out. They didn't have the season that we expected, but the addition of James Harden, when you look at that, in the other parts that they have, we said that they have all the parts. We didn't know whether or not it was going to gel together. But now when I'm looking at this series against Detroit, I'm not surprised Cleveland's up 3-2. I'm not.
Donovan Mitchell and James Harden.
And Max, and then one of the things I said, I'm sorry to cut you off, but to your point, is we said that they have all the parts, but I said that the only thing that they're missing from their chemistry wheel was Max Strus, because he was, and it's just something about certain chemistry is the main thing, and what he brings to that team, the way he stretches the floor, and the way he attacks the basket, and how rugged he is defensively, and he rebounds. He's their utility guy, and he's a a drop dead shooter the same way Duncan Robinson is, because Jenkins played well last night. I mean, Jenkins played well last night, but he just doesn't bring he's nice, but he doesn't bring the same chemistry element that Duncan Robinson does, because you have to. Duncan puts pressure on you, because if you let him get his shot off, you're thinking that's 3 points. And so your defense has to make different types of accommodations when Duncan Robinson in the lineup. Just like when Max Strus is in the lineup for Cleveland, even though Merrill's a quality shooter, Wade's a quality shooter, but it's just something about Max in the chemistry he brings. And then you've got James Harden, who allows Donovan to be a chameleon during the game. He can go from this role to that role fastly, because he knows that It's like when I was coaching down at the high school, and I had my dad as the JV coach. Man, that was wonderful because that means that I could just focus on the varsity and the JV and the sophomores and the freshmen. I know my dad got that, so I ain't got to worry about that. So same with when Spider goes up the court in his two guard role, he knows that Harden is a maestro regulating, and people have said that Harden hasn't been playing as well because he hasn't been scoring. But the thing that he always does for your team is he facilitates. So, like you said, man, they have all the parts. They've got the big boys, Mobley and Allen are they're underrated because of their temperament. They're kind of casual, laid back guys. They don't seem to be hard nosed, and we kind of take for granted, and we expect them to do more. But yes, and think about it. They've neutralized Jalen Duren. I mean, maybe by now he's neutralized himself because he's in his own head because he's reverted back to his sophomore season when I was saying that this guy should be much better than this. I just tell my uncle this guy should be much better. His physicality, he looks like he should be this and that. And then this year he proved me wrong and played like an all-star. But now for some reason he's not able to for him not to play the entire fourth quarter or the overtime, and you're an all-star. And I know that you want to say that we took a loss and maybe the Duran should have been out there, but that's if you're a responsible player, then I've heard players say, you know what, I hate that I wasn't in there, but what I hate worse is that I have to put my coach in that position because I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do. That the coach would even have to consider whether or not I should be out there. So yes, yeah, and it doesn't look like it, but then when you realize he's 22 years old, then you go, I mean, he's a baby, he's a puppy still. Only because of his quickness, because you see how effective Paul Reed is. You're like, I'm just sitting there looking. What's the difference between Duran and Paul Reed? It's just footwork. It's quickness, and I don't think exactly. Mm, mm. Third year. It's third year. Well, so the answer for him, if that guy doesn't find Akeem Olajuwon and work all summer, I'm through with you. And I'll tell you this to your face, young man, Duran, please schedule sessions with the Dream. It's what you need. It's what you need. He does though. He does. I'm not mad at his defense. I'm not mad at his rebound. He doesn't get him. He's gotten better. The thing that used to drive me crazy last year is that he would show uh, 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 moments of greatness, but then he couldn't stay on the floor because he was in foul trouble all last year. He's doing a better job of that this year. Yeah. Y yeah. I I do I do too. But he's hurting them right now. Allen and Mobley are just too cagey for him right now, and I don't ag and it's what you just said. I don't think when I look at guys like that big and strong, I think it's impressive if you have a certain, body mechanic. But if you don't need all that. He doesn't need all that. He I know, but yeah, but Carl was agile. Carl was, he didn't have a terrific handle, but he got to where he was knocking down that elbow jumper. So he was so show to shoot. If you let him shoot, he knock it down, and he go start going around you. He was turning the ball over. He was turning the ball over. I don't understand that. Donovan's turning the ball over too. I'm like, man, what are you guys doing? Well, that's tomorrow. Well, this is, well, this what it says to me. This what it says to me. Like, we talk about chemistry. That hurt them not having Robinson because now because it puts the onus, and I know that uh he doesn't always show up, but that 14, 15 points that he gets and the way he gets it, it keeps the spacing honest. Right now, when I watch that game, it's like as terrific as he is, Cade has to do too much, man. And so he has too many responsibilities the way it looks right now. They need they need a wingman. They get a little bit from Levert. He's got Robin skills. They're getting it a little bit from Dennis. He's got some Robin skill, but he's a youngster. He's a sophomore. Um, so they have to get it from Tobias. Tobias can't they can't they say he's playing over his head. Well, he has to or they can't win. Yeah, he has. Last night he was 6 for 19 and they can't survive him going 6 for 19 because right now he's the Robin. Because Duran is falling off. It was bad. Duran was the Robin all season long, and now Robin has gone away, and they're searching for a Robin because when you score 40 points and you control the game like K did, you're supposed to win that. But you tell me this is I know this is the modern times, but you're up 9 with 2 minutes left in the 4th in the game that you have to win. How do you lose that game? I don't think you go away from him. I mean, you have you how could you not? You're gonna have to develop that guy because he look, man, he earned his all-star status. It wasn't a fluke. I just don't understand. I mean, he's a young, you have to remember, we keep saying this, but he's a made man at 22. He's an all-star at 22. You work with that. You add to your chemistry. You look at what Tobias was able to do for you in the postseason and say, where can we find that with regularity throughout the season? You need a Robin. How do you find the Robin to make sure that if you can't get it from Durant, you need to find the Tobias Harris is going to be like that for the entire season, and you can depend on that person in the playoffs as well. That's what you need. I mean, I think I think if it goes game 7, I think Detroit wins it. I think Cleveland has to. I think Cleveland has to finish the series at home. or Detroit's gonna find a way to win this series, I'm telling you. But I think but I really don't see, Detroit winning this because it's what you said. I think you're gonna get an A1 performance from Mitchell and Harden, which is gonna allow the others to play to play larger roles, and I think that's gonna be too much for Detroit. That's what I think. That's right. They are, man. They've got s they've got snipers. They've got Tyson who can hit threes, but he's a, he's gets in there.
In the
So you've
world
got people that attack the basket. You've got Strus. You've got Merrill. You've got Wade. Those guys create the space, and that creates lanes for Harden. That creates lanes for Mitchell. That creates lanes for the other guys, and it allows them. Yeah, they are well constructed. We said this. They could win it. We talked about teams that could win it. They're one of them. They're one of them. Yep. Yeah. 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 If if those the only knock on those 2 boys is they're lean. If they can keep Detroit off the offensive glass, I see Cleveland winning advancing to the finals. That's just my take. Anyway, anyway, we are at the end, Eddie. It goes fast. If this is your first time watching us, please like, please share, please subscribe, comment. We love to hear from you. We like you said, it's just usually 3 guys, but 2 guys a day having the conversation, old school views, new school news. This is what we're doing. We're here every Thursday at 4 o'clock, and sometimes we will show up during the week with some nightcaps, after the game analysis. Sometimes we'll just pop up. We never know. But we are the point walk the walk hoop talk, and our goal is to help players, coaches, and fans become more intellectual inside the sport. What you got to say, Ed? See you next week. Peace, y'all.